You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
And we have a fun-filled show for you today, fans. We are back. We are back. And listen, we have a few topics to discuss. Ben Simmons, what in the world is going on? A little bit about the NFL, our update thus far. And, oh boy, the Major League Baseball playoffs are right there, right around the corner. But first to Ben Simmons, Danny, it looks like he is not wanting to be back with the Philadelphia 76ers. It just looks like Doc done screwed it up, man. I just think that it is time for Ben Simmons to move on. What say you?
Jason, yeah, this doesn't really surprise me, honestly, after the way the season ended last year in the playoffs. You think back, like the Harden trade they're trying to pull off. Ben Simmons was the topic of conversation in that trade. Any type of trade that was for a major piece, Ben Simmons was involved. And I think they see the writing on the wall with Ben Simmons. I know they're trying to rectify it right now. Daryl Morey's trying to say all the right things, comparing it to the Aaron Rodgers situation and all that good stuff. But it's time, I think, for him just to move on. And from a Philadelphia standpoint, if they can pull some pieces, I know there are a couple trade rumors out there, man, because Ben Simmons is a great defender. We've talked about this in the past. But for whatever reason, man, he doesn't put the work in from the shot. And maybe he is, and he just can't figure it out. Because I know one thing after the playoffs ended last year, he was talking about shooting right-handed to see if that would improve his jump shot and his confidence. So, and you just don't know behind closed doors if him and Embiid have run their course as well, because they've been together, through the process and everything, where it's time to move on. And I think he's a great complementary player to Embiid, honestly, because he can feed him. He's a defender. He does all the right things. He just can't score. And honestly, that's what Philadelphia is missing. They need a scorer. And when they let Jimmy Butler go a few years ago, that was that person. Tobias Harris can do it, but they need Ben Simmons to put up 20 to play that Giannis type role, and he's just not doing it. So I think this may be, they should take advantage of this time to try to improve and move on from Ben Simmons.
And Danny, I'm going to play two clips here of Doc Rivers here. This first clip that I'm about to show is actually courtesy of Bleacher Report. And this is immediately following the loss to the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs. Listen to Doc Rivers at this point in time.
How many fast breaks that we blew in transition where we didn't get anything out of and they got something. But the last part of that, we just did not trust each other. We didn't trust the open guy tonight.
How much do you think that Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
What do you when you say get in the gym with him? What needs to be done? I mean, obviously, if this is corruption.
Yeah, I mean, that's between Ben and I.
I'm going to stop that clip, and then I'm going to play one more clip. And this clip is actually courtesy of ESPN and First Take.
In Philadelphia, when he was playing here under Brett Brown, he just didn't like a lot of things that were going on. Obviously, you came there and there was a hope for change. But in the aftermath of the loss to the Atlanta Hawks in Game 7, You were on the record saying at that particular moment in time that you didn't know whether or not he was the point guard of the future for a championship franchise. Joel Embiid was on the record, questioning the play where he passed up the dunk and gave the ball, to Thibault, that played a big role.
I want to correct
Please
that.
do. Please do.
Yeah, I want to correct that because I would love you guys to play what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I've told you this before, Stephen A., never said what was reported. The question was asked about Ben. It was the first question after we just lost the Game 7. My answer was, I'm not answering any of that stuff right now, guys. I don't even know how to answer that. That had nothing to do with what's about Ben. I was basically saying I'm not answering that crap, those questions. And so what disappointed me, and I don't do this media thing very often. You never see me do that.
Right.
It was being portrayed that I was out there saying I don't think we can win with Ben, and I do. I told Ben that the next day. What really disappointed me was the next day I went on and said, guys, I knew exactly what I was talking about. And no one heard it. They just kept running their narrative. So, I've been in sports a long time, and I'm not misrepresented very often, but in that case I was. But it is what it is.
Let's stop it there. So let me just say this. Doc Rivers, you said what you said, man. Y'all seen the clip. Y'all have seen the clip. I'm just going to say this, Danny. And you and I, we have talked about this before. Ben Simmons cannot shoot.
Mm-hmm.
This is Ben Simmons. He's been in the league 5 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the league for 5 years. And since he was in college with LSU, he couldn't shoot then, and he can't shoot now.
Mm-hmm.
A few things in basketball: pass, dribble, and shoot. Ben Simmons cannot do one of those things, man. He can't shoot. And listen, I understand Ben is a great defender. He's been one of the top players defensively. He's a 3-time All-Star. He is a 2-time All-Defensive player. Steals champion. He's been Rookie of the Year, which, in my opinion, he should not have been Rookie of the Year since his very first year he was out that whole year due to a foot injury. Ben Simmons is a good player. I believe. Listen, man, he can't play point guard. A guard who can't shoot, who can't extend the floor. I just believe is not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yes, he has strengths other places, and maybe that's something they need to focus in on.
Yeah.
But I just don't think Ben Simmons, the way he plays now, can be as effective. I'm looking at his field goal percentages by distance. His field goal attempts by distance, okay? When he first played, 3 to 10 feet, 32%. 10 to 16 feet, 17%. 16 feet, 3-point line, 2.8%, man. The next year, from 3 to 10 feet, 32%. 10 to 16 feet, 7.7%. Following year, from 3 to 10 feet, 30%. 10 to 16 feet, 4%. Last year, 3 to 10 feet, 38%. 10 to 16 feet, 7%. Here's my point, man. If you have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, And there's some rumors that what Ben is saying in playing with Joel Embiid, he kind of clogs up obviously the lanes, so it reduces the amount of drives to the basket, kind of how Ben wants to play. Hey man, how about Ben? You just go ahead and do maybe a 15-footer, maybe a 12-foot jumper or something to that degree to kind of help extend things out a little bit more for Joel Embiid to work and everything. How about you focusing in on what you can improve upon? Because evidently over the past 4 years, you haven't been really in the gym working on your jumper. Or if you've been working on the jumper, it hasn't translated to real game activity, real game action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, Ben, you need to stop making these excuses, man. You need to go ahead and focus in on improving your game and stop saying, okay, it's Joel Embiid. I need some driving lanes. Man, come on, man. If you're a point guard, be a point guard.
Yep.
That's my take with Ben Simmons, man. I say Philadelphia 76ers, man, go ahead and get him on up out of here. I think the damage has been done. He doesn't want to be with the players. He doesn't want to be in the locker room. Hell, he don't even want the players to come out to even talk to him out in California, man. So, hey, it's about that time just to go ahead, turn the page on the career and, move forward. And now, Danny, to our next topic here about the NFL, man. Listen, we are in week 4 of the NFL. A lot's been going on, man. Listen, I think this NFL season has been very good. There's been some great games so far. I just think, though, that, man, there's going to be some surprises here. The big surprise for me so far, I'm really loving what the Rams are doing. The Rams are going to be very tough. That NFC West is going to be very tough. I think the Rams are going to really, really make some moves here, especially with Matt Stafford at the helm. He can make every pass. We saw him live in living color with the Lions year in and year out playing against the Packers. He could play, but the Lions just seemingly couldn't really put the pieces around him. Nevertheless, he's out in LA right now doing his thing. The other team that I'm curious to watch from the NFC is basically, man, I have to say this, Danny, the NFC West, crucial. The Carolina Panthers are big surprises too, though.
Yep. On
top of the division in the NFC South, your Falcons not doing as well.
Hold on now. Yep, you're right. Go ahead. Keep going.
But the Carolina Panthers are actually surprising me right now.
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey is hurt. We'll see what's going to happen with him in the hamstring. But I think the Panthers are making a big turnaround here. And then the Green Bay Packers, they're going to win this NFC North division. But them playing against other teams in the conference, that's what I really want to see. They made a good step forward against the San Francisco 49ers, making that last-second field goal to win that game. Mm-hmm. But, man, Packers going to win this division, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen the rest of the way. And in the NFC East, NFC least, I'm not as really concerned there. Cowboys, yeah, they're going to probably win the division. But to me, that's NFC East is just something that is not of great interest. What say you, Danny?
So, Jason, I agree, man. First 3 weeks, and we go into number 4 tomorrow. It's been very good to see some football. My Falcons got their first victory last week. So we on that 1-game winning streak, hot. going into tomorrow's game against the Washington football team in Atlanta. So hopefully they can string a couple games together. The offensive line is still shaky, but it's last week against the Giants. The Giants have actually a decent defense. They held their own and actually snuck a game out. And actually, truth be told, a couple weeks ago against Tampa Bay, in that fourth quarter, we were only down 3 until the punter decided to shank 2 punts. And Matt Ryan threw 2 pick sixes in that last 7 minutes of that game. It just went to hell in a handbasket. But so they did hang with Tampa. So that was promising. They actually showed some life in that game. In addition to the surprises you called out, obviously the Rams are playing great. Cardinals are playing great. Carolina, they're all undefeated. The Raiders are undefeated and actually leading the division with the Chargers. And Kansas City's in last place. It's early, I get it. But it's good to see that. One other observation has been the rookie quarterbacks. And so Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, all are struggling so far. And you think about it, back in the day, they didn't have to worry about getting into the game because they would sit on the bench and absorb from the veterans. Now they're getting thrown into the fire right away. So having to react to that, I think, is kind of unfair, but it's the lay of the land these days. So looking good so far in this first quarter of the season, and looking forward to the next few games and see how some of these things start to shake out and watch Carolina fall back to the pack.
Listen, man, talking about the quarterbacks with Justin Fields in Chicago. Listen, man, I just think that is just a hot mess. That is just a travesty in what's happening in Chicago, quite honestly. Yeah, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. I like for anything bad to happen to the Chicago Bears. But in terms of a career to start off like this in just a terrible situation, in my opinion, with Matt Nagy and really with that terrible offensive line that the Chicago Bears has.
Yeah.
I hate it for Justin Fields. I really do. I really do hate it for him, man. So we'll see what happens with that. But kind of going to your point in terms of the AFC, the Raiders, I am really liking what I'm seeing with the Raiders. With Waller, that tight end is just having an awesome season. But man, Justin Herbert and the Chargers,
yes,
he's going to be a good quarterback, man. He's going to be a good quarterback. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that really plays out for the rest of the season. And then the Bengals.
Yeah.
Who would ever thought? The Bengals are leading the division right now, even though they played on Thursday and everything, won. And yeah, it's been interesting seeing the Bengals pulling out victories like this. And then obviously there's a big game happening between the Patriots and Tampa Bay on Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be real, man. I think Tampa Bay is gonna stomp them, man. I really do, man. I really think that's going to be a blowout game, man. But it's going to be really interesting. Can't forget about Buffalo Bills. I think they're on the verge of, taking that next step. And then Tennessee Titans in the AFC South. I just think the Tennessee Titans are going to win that division. That division in the AFC is probably the least division out of the rest of the AFC divisions, and we'll see what happens with the Tennessee Titans. Going to be real interesting, man, but I'm really loving what I'm seeing from the Rams, quite honestly. I think they're going to be one team to really, really compete with on a national stage, but then also the Raiders too. I think the Raiders are going to really make that next step. And now, Danny, to Major League Baseball and the playoffs, man. We are right there on the cusp, right there on the verge of the playoffs actually happening. What say you?
So, Jason, we're wrapping up this weekend, and then next week is wild card week as they go into the divisional round. And the Milwaukee Brewers have got themselves set up. They had some unfortunate news this week with losing Devin Williams, with him punching a wall, allegedly.
Man. Come on, man.
So that hurts their bullpen and their depth. So I'm curious to see how this plays out now, losing him going into the series against the Atlanta Braves. The St. Louis Cardinals won 17 straight, and the Brewers actually beat them this week to end the streak, but that's the team I don't want to mess with in the playoffs. St. Louis has the Brewers number for whatever reason. So if the St. Louis get knocked out and make it a tad bit easier on the Brewers, that'll be great. A lot of the wild card and some other things, like the positions are all still up in the air. So they'll all be finalized, obviously, in the next day or two. But a lot of TBDs at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Brewers, they start off next Friday night at home at American Family Field against the Braves. So it'll be exciting. You know, it's kind of, they've just been waiting, more or less, playing out a string this last September. They've been so far ahead. Now it's go time, and we'll see how they react and see if there's some good games with the MLB playoffs.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, man. You have the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers who won over 100 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be curious to see how that really plays out. There's rumors about Kershaw not actually playing in the playoffs due to injury. So we'll see what happens with Kershaw there. The Brewers, yeah, man, this is going to be really interesting. Can the Brewers make it to the World Series?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that would be something else to have the Bucks win the NBA championship and the Brewers make it to the World Series.
Agree.
Man, that'll be something else. It's going to be tough, though, with the Braves. That's going to be interesting. I think I saw something in where the Braves, yes, they won the division, and they have the other team that has won the most divisions in Major League Baseball history, which is quite interesting. They've won so many times the division, but they always kind of fail to make it over that hump.
Yep.
So can they do it this time? I don't know, man. The National League is going to be tough. And then in the American League, that's going to be interesting, man. The Astros return to the playoffs. Some would call them the cheating Astros for obvious reasons. But can they redeem themselves?
Yes.
That's a storyline. Can they redeem themselves? And the Chicago White Sox, man, they're in the midst of a playoff run here themselves. So going to be interesting, man. Tampa Bay Rays as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man, who would ever thought? So Yankees and Red Sox are still battling for that wild card positioning. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. But nonetheless, the playoffs are here. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.